Just picture this. Pretend like this was happening. Todd White's here, and Todd White called up people with no arms. He said, people with no arms, come to the front. And so all of a sudden we see a couple people come to the front. They stand up here. Todd comes off the stage. He grabbed their, obviously, no arms, their shoulders, and said, I command these arms to be gone. And let's say their arms grew out, which this room would go ballistic. But imagine if I stood up and said, hold on, Todd, you cannot do that here. Stop that. No, this is the wrong day to do that. You can do that 6 days of the week, but not this day. I mean, this is really foreign. That would not happen in this room, but this is actually what took place. Super odd, super strange. So we have to ask the question, how do you get to a place where you're upset that a rule wasn't kept, but somebody got straightened out after 18 years? What causes tradition to become dead? What causes a religion to become a dead religion? We have to ask these questions, because I'm not saying we're anywhere near that, but we want to make sure that we've got our priorities set straight. And Jesus does something that people think he was against the Sabbath. No, he was very much the Sabbath. It came from him. So Jesus wasn't like, we'll just get rid of the Sabbath. No, he was all for it. And in fact, scholars tell us that Jesus actually operated in the confines of the Sabbath. But by this time, when the Sabbath was first given centuries before, and by the time you get to this, the religious system had taken something that was meant to be a day of rest, and made it this complex system of rules and regulation. They say there were over 60 columns of regulations on the Sabbath day alone. In fact, there's one Sabbath rule that said you cannot walk a half a mile from your house on the day of Sabbath. You can only stay within a 3,000-foot circumference of your home. You can't go past that. So on the day before, they'd make a few sandwiches. They would go out to the half-mile mark, put a sandwich at the half-mile mark, then they put a sandwich at the 1 mile mark. And on the day of Sabbath, to protect the rule, they would walk to the half-mile mark, sit down, grab their sandwich, eat it, and they would call this their temporary home. And then they get up and go, oh, I'm going to go another half mile. And Jesus is like, what are you guys doing? When you start paying attention to the letter of the law and not the heart of the law, that's when religion becomes dead. In fact, he says, guys, listen, you take your animals to the water on the day of Sabbath. You care more about your animals than a human being. He is just confronting them. Anytime a tradition or religion loses compassion, it is well on its way to becoming a dead one. And one of the challenges for us as being believers, making sure we are full of compassion all the time. And anytime our compassion begins to become less and less, you better stop whatever you're doing and find your compassion again. This is what I love when I read the Gospels. And Jesus, out of compassion, healed the sick. Why? Because people are always more important than some tradition. The ability for someone to have access to healing, to have access to community. What religion couldn't fix with this woman in 18 years, Jesus did in 1 moment.